Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Nate Caywood and I'm a Los Angeles-based cinematographer, and I created this YouTube channel with the intention of breaking down the works of the best cinematographers on the planet in the hopes that by reverse engineering their work, I can learn from them. I can steal their tricks and I can figure out how to be a better cinematographer myself, and hopefully you guys can learn something along the way. Today we are talking about a very specific scene in Severance Season 2, Episode 5. I've had a lot of questions about this scene. I'm still not exactly 100% sure how this video is going to shape itself with the story, because I'm just mostly curious about it, because it just brings up questions about continuity as far as continuity exposure and how you're exposing people's faces for different angles depending on how the light is shaped on their face. Let's just get into it and let me know what you think. This is the establishing shot, right? So this is our three main characters from Season 2 of Severance is going into their boss's office so they can confront him about a thing, right? This is the scene that they were walking into, right? So that's the establishing shot. So now they have walked into that office. We are now seeing our characters. This is Adam Scott. So the one thing, this is what I want to point out, right? This is what I'm interested in and excited about, that I'm trying to figure out, and you guys might be able to help me figure out what this is, right? So obviously these are like blinds. These are like blind curtains that are drawn across a big window that you would have in a corporate office. This is obviously a set. They've built this set and they've just frosted these windows, or they're doing whatever. They're just blowing out these windows, right? So the windows are completely blown out back here, and there are all these blinds that are creating sort of texture in the window. Okay, but the thing that I'm interested in and that I want to talk about today, how are we exposing people's faces depending on the angles that you're shooting against this brightly lit, blown out white window, okay? This looks to me like this is at middle gray, right? Like they're exposing this right here to be gray on the Ed Lockman scale, gray on the ARRI false color meter. Like that's what we're looking for skin tones, right? This area right here is feeling good. So my question is, how are they changing exposure towards people as we get different coverages with different angles, right? Notice that she seems very dark downstage, right? And when we come back to see her face later, it might just be the orientation of the light, it might be the orientation of the camera, but when she looks towards the main boss, it appears like the level and exposure is wrapping more around her face. And let's just go through the images really quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. This seems like she's almost silhouetted, and that because she is against a big white window and the light is only cutting her in half of her face and the rest is just completely ambient fall off, right? See, for example, this is the boss. Now we see that this is going all the way over and kissing his cheek over here. As he's turned to look towards the window, he's looking at the character over there. Now this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to go between these two images. She's looking straight at the boss here. She's obviously, this is our key level exposure from these bright windows, right? And then this feels like an ambient level of fall off wrap around her. You can look at her eye catch and see that there isn't any, maybe there's a specialty light right here. They are extending it. Maybe it's a light mat that they've put by the window to extend it to get all the way over here to get this level. I think that's what's happening, right? Because if you go back to this image, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. If you go back to this image, it doesn't look like there's the wrap. It doesn't feel like that wrap light exists here, right? Now, is it because of the way that she's oriented and blocking? Because she's not looking at the same person in both of these images. And obviously our camera's not oriented at the same place either to be able to get those types of coverages. And this is just a talking scene for 5 minutes, right? But between these two images, we're assuming that there's a lighting change, right? I think that that's what I want to be conscious of and cognizant of in this video. The thing that I want to learn from looking at this setup is understanding that bringing in a light to either eye catch or to wrap around somebody's face, it's okay to do that for their coverage, and it's not going to pull the audience out because of the difference between these two light qualities, right? I think we're going to find other examples as we move on through the scene too, so let's keep going. Okay, this is an interesting one because he actually looks like he actually, let's highlight this, because he actually looks like he does have more wrap here, right? So, and there is kind of an eye catch. So is there a light mat over here far in the corner, or is the window just wrapping enough to create this wrap on him, but not on her over here? Possible, because it depends on how far the window goes this direction in the room, right? That would be applicable to how much it wraps around him and how much it wraps around her. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, this isn't a great example because she's looking straight into the light. Look at this. This is something that I want to point out, right? So, okay, so let's just quickly pop between these two images. So this is the image of the boss. We're clearly changing our exposure here, right? Like, let's talk about this. This image to this image is the same character, same timeline, same room, same space, right? Are we assuming that there is no lighting change here? Like, for example, like, let's be like, this to me feels like they have a specialty eye catch for him right there to expend it around his cheek. That's what it looks like to me. Now, when we come to this beautiful silhouette, which reminds me of like a Ingmar Bergman film, it feels to me like they have removed this special eye catch light. They've 86'd it, right? And that they have brought in some sort of negative fill to make this side even darker. Or maybe the answer is actually they just completely crushed this in post. It almost looks like a gradient here. So it feels like maybe they crushed it in post, but I think what I want to take from this lesson, or that I want to take from this for my own work as a learning lesson, is the idea that lighting continuity is only as important as your story and the way that we're making people feel. Because it makes, like, this silhouette shot makes me feel a very specific thing, right? Like ominous and dangerous and scary and not forthright because you're only seeing half of his face and he's like lying out of the side of his mouth. Whereas this is sort of like amicable and inviting and forthcoming, right? So it's interesting about how the very, very small shape of lighting changes and our possible exposure or color correction to contrast levels can help change our perception of story. Okay, again, still pretty lit. Great. Here are a couple other images that I want to look at here. So this is the one we're looking of Adam Scott. This is, again, the thing I'm talking about. Is this just something that changes in color correction? Or are they changing this on the day, right? Because it looks like there's some sort of light right there in the corner, so maybe he does have an eye catch. But as he turns his face, like, is this exposure matching the exposure when we first saw him? Like the first image, like, let's take a look. This image? Is this exposure level on his face right here? And then this exposure level? It doesn't look like it, right? Like, it doesn't look like it's the same amount of light. Are we changing on the day our exposure? Are we lowering the intensity of these lights back here, but still blowing it out so it just doesn't, so it's not as hot on him? Are they adding neutral density to the camera? Are they stopping down? I doubt it. Is this just in the grade? Right, so are they making these choices on set practically, or are these choices being made in the grade? That's what I'm curious about. Because what I'm taking away from asking that question is I'm learning two things, right? As an audience member, I'm not really noticing, while watching the scene, I'm not really noticing the exposure change or the contrast level change or the feeling of light being different on their faces. I'm not really feeling that. But it does make me feel that, okay, lighting continuity isn't the end-all be-all, and then color correction continuity isn't the end-all be-all. So those are the two things I'm taking away from analyzing or looking at this scene. Beyond the fact of the idea of just being like, okay, well, if you have one wall that's windows, just frost the windows with some 216 or 250 diffusion gels and just blast a bunch of light through it, and you're going to have beautiful, beautiful shape. You're probably going to need to have negative fill on the other side to get these levels of contrast, would be my guess. But I'm asking the same question, but I just want to do it one more time. So we're looking at this image, right? And then we look at this image of her. This image and this image of her. The color rendering feels a little bit different. That might be because in this image there may be some halation on the lens that's sort of happening up here. It feels a little bit bluer, a little bit cooler. This is much later in the scene. This is earlier in the scene. Actually, yeah, this feels bluer in shape, in tint to me than this one. Feels like a little bit warmer in her hair. Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's halation. I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough to say. I mean, I think they shot these on really vintagey anamorphic lenses from Panavision C series, I think. Sorry. double check it. Let me know in the comments below which series of Panavision lenses they shot Severance Season 2 on. Is this a contrast level difference? Is this a shape level difference of light? Or is this just the fact that this is literally just the movement of her head? It feels to me the camera has moved its orientation and position, right? This is behind this character over here on the left-hand side. It now looks like it's from that character's point of view, POV, or at least in front of him. So the camera itself has moved. So I think we can understand why the light shape has made this triangle over here. But does this contrast levels or however much light that's returning this way feel in line with this level is here? This actually feels like there's more return. It's like a light actually made. It looks like there's like a light mat or something. Whereas this image feels more like ambient and there isn't really a light. This is just the level of light that's happening in the room. Anyway, interesting questions. Things I don't necessarily have the answers for. Like, that's why I want to position this channel this way, which is like, I'm not an expert. I am a student of cinematography. I'm trying to get better every single day. I'm hoping you guys are trying to get better every single day. I think that's the point. If we all knew all the answers all the time, what a boring job this would be. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that all these changes are happening in the color grade? Do you think they're changing anything on set? Do you think that there's any amount of negative fill that they're bringing in closer to the subjects for certain shots? Or do they have a light mat or a Hudson Spider on like a rolling stand that they can just bring around to wrap the level around a little bit more? I don't know. Let me know. Have you ever lit anything this way as well? And give me some personal anecdotes about how it went. Subscribe to the channel if you like what you're seeing. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you like. Give it a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content. It really helps out the channel. And speak to you soon. Cheers.